Hello viewers and welcome to a brand new episode of Mechanic Brewery, where I review the various homebrew mechs created by the Lancer fandom, Field Guide to Mfecane Special. In today's episode, Amadlozi, from Mfecane, by NHP Shaka. Amadlozi are the African spiritual figures of the Nguni people, a significant proportion of which later on become a part of the Zulu kingdom. Amadlozi also mean ancestors, and the Nguni people believe that their ancestors can be summoned for assistance and protection, guiding their people towards a life of purpose and integrity. Believing that there is no way to lead normal lives without giving thanks to the elders that came before them, the Nguni people has many different ways to show their gratitude and pay their respects to these spiritual figures. The Amadlozi are highly regarded as life-giving forces and are respected as so throughout generations in the Nguni culture. In the Mfecane, the Amadlozi are architects of worlds, turning barren planets into life-sustaining homes, but it can just as easily turn battlefield into a living hell. Looking at its stats, the Amadlozi is a tough big boy with 1 armor and decent health, but its repair cap and evasion leaves something to be desired, at least it's decently speedy. It has a very good save target however, along with decent E-defense, base systems points, and excellent heat cap, but it can't hack very well. As for its traits, it has 3 of them. First, tremble with fear. Before any damage reduction or resistance, Amadlozi can further decrease any damage by 1 to a minimum of 0, and I mean any damage, even AP damage. Second, tremble with joy. Amadlozi is completely immune to difficult and even dangerous terrain, and so are its allies within range 5. And third, break grounds. Hostile character within sensor have to pass engineering save with Amadlozi's save target instead of a check when walking on dangerous terrain. In short, remember the part when I said Amadlozi can easily turn battlefield into a living hell. I'm not fucking joking, and it's also only hell for the enemies. Your allies will be just as dandy even if everything is on fire. As for the weapon mount, it has 2, 1 double auxiliary and 1 heavy, and for its core system, Amadlozi has the Metafold Iwisa, which is also an integrated weapon with double functions. In its first mode, Kinetic Decimator, it becomes a melee weapon with short threat and deal very small damage, but, on hit, roll 1d6 and you send someone away just as far and they can fall down. Any object or terrain that got smacked also take 10 AP damage from this weapon. In its second form, Void Generator, which is a gun with 15 range but again, very small damage, and on hit, roll 1d6 and you pull someone towards you just as far. It also destroy object and terrain just as easily, and to switch between 2 weapon modes, just use a quick action. As for its core power, Amadlozi can activate Uncolo's Decimation, upgrading the Iwisa so that on hit, it can create a cone 5 area of difficult terrain in front or behind the target, that lasts until the end of the scene. Also, all difficult terrains created by Amadlozi deals 1 AP damage whenever someone steps on it. You are basically going to wreck the shit out of the terrain like a climatic anime fight scene. All the enemies will not be able to find intact ground to move at all, and you should apologize to the GM when using this because the map will not be recognizable after this. As for its license, you get Pillar of Mfecane and Terraforming Rod, or Short Blast Terraforming Cannon, I don't know which one, in the first section. Pillar of Mfecane takes the hit for you. Pick a difficult or dangerous terrain in line of sight. You can create a size 2 indestructible pillar that lasts until the end of the scene. You also gain a reaction called Uncolo's Grasp where if you or your ally get shot while within range 5 of the pillar, you can roll a contested ranged attack roll and if you win, the pillar takes the hit for you. However, you can only make one of these pillars at a time. Making new one causes the old one to vanish. Basically, not only can you just take cover behind the pillar will also take the hit for you even at a distance. Short Blast Terraforming Cannon is a loading auxiliary cannon with decent range, low damage, arcing, with blast 1 firing pattern, but its main purpose isn't damage. On hit, you also create a blast difficult terrain centered on the main target that lasts until the end of your next turn. This is already very annoying, but it gets worse if the difficult terrain overlaps with pre-existing one, because it turns into an energy dangerous terrain that lasts forever, which can be very bad for the enemies. Worse, it's auxiliary, so you can easily pack a ton of these guns and fire them all across the map to set it on fire. Aside from Amadlozi frame itself, you get Asagi Umgodi Cannon and Terraforming Engines in the second section. Asagi Umgodi Cannon is a big heavy cannon with line 8 firing pattern, and decent AP damage. It's already quite devastating, and it gets worse, because you can create a blast 2 difficult terrain at the end of the line that lasts until the end of your next turn, so not only your targets, multiple, get shot really hard, the terrain they are on get absolutely wrecked. Blast 2 is quite large, and quite annoying to get out of if they are still alive. Terraforming engines allows you to completely manipulate the terrain. First, target a Blast 1 difficult or dangerous terrain within sensor and line of sight, or just create a new Blast 1 difficult terrain that don't really last long. You can additionally take one heat to add additional effects to these difficult and dangerous terrains, like Quickseal Swamp, which can immobilize anyone that's on it until the end of their turn. Then they become immune to immobilization for a turn, because otherwise this will get very bullshit. Localized Quake makes everyone on it fall prone instead, and they cannot get up until they crawl out of it, slowly. Finally, Radioactive Rupture just turns up the heat and cooks people up. In short, if you think difficult and dangerous terrain is annoying, it's going to get a lot worse. In the final section, you get Creation Protocol or Creation Directive Gravity Isolation, whichever that's actually correct, and Mfecane Mfecane. Creation Directive Gravity Isolation allows you to make instant barrier. By choosing any free space of difficult and dangerous terrain within sensor and line of sight, you can create up to 6 pieces of hard cover as a wall in any shape, but you take 1 heat per cover made, which can get hot very fast. If a dangerous terrain is chosen, the hard cover also becomes dangerous, and if a hostile character stands near it, they will take 5 goddamn burn, which is insane, and it only works against hostile too, so if you have allies that can reliably force enemy to move, that's going to hurt a lot. Finally, there's Mfecane Mfecane, which with a full action and limited charge, allows you to create burst 3 zone of difficult and dangerous terrain that last until the end of the scene. That alone is insane, but it gets worse, so much worse. When activating the system, you can choose to be immobilized until the start of your next turn, so any hostile moving on these terrain also take 1 burn per space moved, which is going to melt everything. You can stay immobilized indefinitely to continue this effect, but the effect ends if you cease to be immobilized or moved voluntarily or involuntarily for any reason. To say that this system is destructive is an understatement. This system is absolutely unhinged and it's going to set everything on fire. Burst 3 is a huge zone too, especially with a size 2 mech. As a conclusion, Amidlosi is really going to make the enemies fear stepping on any ground and treating it like lava, because they might as well be with Amidlosi around. Its license is just packed with stuff that allows you to completely destroy and manipulate the terrain however you like. If you want something that can completely destroy the map as much as it destroys the enemies, Amadlozi might be the choice for you. Anyway, that's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.